Hello guys, this is Glenn Garcia, a teacher by profession and an avid chess player by passion. I've been teaching chess for years now here at G4 Chess Club in YMCA Olongapo City, Philippines. Now I'd like to show you one of my games against a player that goes through the username tangomike rated 2193. So we started the game by playing the Sicilian defense, and my opponent chose the Kalashnikov variation. We went on for it, but after here I can play Queen A3 and Queen D1, but I tried to test my opponent's knowledge of the opening, so I played the complicated line Queen C7. After Queen G6, Knight C3, Knight G7, H4, H5, Bishop G5. I'm expecting here F6. For then I shall play Bishop E3, preventing a future Rook A7. But instead, my opponent played Castle Kingside, hereby letting me win a pawn here on E5. And after Queen G5, Queen E6, it's usually a good policy to exchange pieces, not pawns, when ahead in material, especially when ahead in pawns. So my opponent wisely avoids that. And after Castle Queenside, actually here it's safer to play Bishop E2 and Castle Kingside, since Castle Queenside would entail some danger, since his queen and Knight on C6 can create some threats here on the queen side. But instead I played quite lively here by playing Castle Queenside, inviting him to create or to prove his lead in development if he can produce an attack here. So he went on ahead and played B5, and after I played Bishop D3, Bishop E7, Queen takes pawn, winning a second pawn. He started his attack by playing Knight B4, and after A3, Knight takes D3, Rook takes D3, Rook AC8. He started to look at my king and say, I can attack it and I can produce some tricks up my sleeve and invade your forces. So I started off by placing my mighty knight on D5 and exchanging it, but I took it with a pawn, which is usually more or less stronger than Queen takes D5, since Queen takes D5 would give me a comfortable two-pawn advantage in the endgame, since I have a present pressure on D7, which will not give black some time to avoid a queen exchange, and I have a comfortable win. But instead I played pawn takes bishop. He played Queen E4, Queen F3, Queen C4, and after this move I'm in deep thought on how would I counter his double threat on mate on my C2 pawn, Queen takes pawn mate, and also Queen A2, threatening Queen A1 check, winning my Rook on H1. I answered it by inviting a further simplification by putting my Rook here, so that after Queen A2 I'll push this G pawn up, so it will uncover a defense here of my queen to my Rook on H1. And what happened was he was able to win a pawn on B2, but later he can also choose to play Queen A1, King D2, Queen takes H1, and after Rook takes F8, King takes F8, he has more chances, or much more. I think it's much more preferable than what happened to the game. So after Rook takes C8, G4 check, King D2, Queen takes B2, Queen D3, he played B4. Here white can have a very nice advantage by playing A4 and then Queen B3, just in case of Queen A2. But in this position he can simply play A4, wait for Queen A2 to play Queen B3, or meet it with Queen B3, and then just simply push this H pawn forward, producing quite an attack, or producing an attack here with the subsequent weakening of squares depending on black's reaction. But instead I played capture without thinking, and what resulted was a very muddy position after king d1. King queen takes g4 check. Now why not queen takes f2? Queen takes f2 would then be quite an acceptable position, but after rook f1, queen takes h4, and then queen f5, I have an attack on the f file. So he chooses to play queen takes g4, f3, queen g2, and after rook e1, queen c3, and rook e3. If we will flip the board, we can observe that I have a better position because my two pieces, the queen and the rook, is stronger than their counterparts on queen b2 and rook c8. If only black can maneuver this rook here on c5 followed by rook a5 and rook a1, I will be in big trouble. But in this position, he cannot do that since after rook c5, there's an immediate mate threat here on e8 with rook e8. Checkmate. And pushing pawns would give white better opportunity of getting into black's kings. So what black did was push his a pawn forward and threatening to ram it down, or pushing it down the board to win it. But I also have this pawn here on h4, which I threatened to push forward and produce or act as an opener, or like ramming the this guys over here on g7 and opening up lines on the king, which understandably underestimated by my opponent. So after he played a5, I played h5, a4, h6. He thought here and realized that he is under an attack here, but he still can escape by playing queen a1 check, king d2, queen h1, and after, let's say for example, pawn takes pawn, he can play queen g2 check, and his ass is covered on the g file. But also I can also play f4 there and have some attack here, but black can continue checking my king until he can find some place for his king to hide. So the game went g6, and after queen d4, he resigned. There's no defense against queen g5 mate. Thanks guys for listening, and hopefully you like my videos. Please don't forget to click on like button or subscribe if you like my other videos. So thank you guys and take care.